I'm delighted to bring you the June 2012 International Update. I'd like to just remind you of one or two key issues that I've been asking for prayer for over these last few months. I'm speaking to you on a Friday afternoon, and on Monday I leave for Porto Rocco in Italy, where I'll be meeting with our International Executive Committee. We have some very important items on the agenda, and probably one of the most important is to hear from the chairman of our International Nominations Group, David Greenley, of how the process to find my successor is going. From what I've heard from David, it's well developed, and we're close to recognising a nominated candidate for this position. So I would again just appreciate your prayers for David and for the nominations team as they lead this process forward. The centre at Porto Rocco is also an issue for prayer. We've had a loan with the bank for a number of years on this project, and we thought we had a fresh agreement with the bank, but it seems that that was not the case. We now are facing having to lose this centre, which we've invested much money, time and effort into, and it really has proved to be a very useful centre for us. So again, I'd appreciate your prayers for our negotiations with the bank, that we might see some reasonable breakthrough there. The other thing I've been asking for prayer for regularly is just the situation with Logos Hope. Two key issues. One is finance for dry dock and the Power Up project, and the other is for key positions that need to be filled, particularly on the engineering side. We've seen some wonderful financial breakthroughs. We're grateful to God and grateful to financial partners around the world who've helped us. I have to be honest and say we need to continue to see some financial breakthroughs over the next few months. But we've had the resources to cover the costs of our dry dock project and to begin at least to see money come in for the Power Up project. There are signs of movement on the engineering positions as well. But we still need to see some very significant breakthroughs before we can sail on from dry dock. We found some steel replacement that needed to be done during the dry docking procedure, so our actual time in dry dock has been extended. Thank you for your prayers for these ongoing issues within our movement. I want to talk to you now about some specific fresh issues that we'd appreciate your prayers for. When I travel around churches in Europe and North America and talk about the mission fields, people still, many people at least, still seem to think of Asia, Africa, Latin America as the mission fields. The European land of Austria has 8 times more Muslims than evangelical Christians. That's the word from our field leader, Philip Eschbach. And the country's very few evangelical churches are mostly planted along major highways, major motorways through the middle of the country. There's one couple, for instance, who've worked for 25 years in one location, and through 25 years of faithful service have built a church of 25 believers. That's how hard it is in some, at least, of our European countries. There are 100 towns in Austria with a population of 5,000 or more who have no other witness for Jesus than the Catholic Church in that town. Very, very few churches reach out to the Muslims who live in Austria. OM's goal is to establish a worship point in every town with a population of over 5,000. We want to see 8 of those established within the next year. Involving Austrian believers will help them understand the need of witnessing in daily life. Peter Brandus, who oversees the team's partner ministries, says, "We want to strengthen churches to be a living testimony to their neighbours and be able not only to share the gospel, but also help new believers grow in the faith." Please join with us in that very specific prayer request to see worship points, small churches if you like, established in every town with a population of 5,000 or more, and very specifically 8 to be established in the next year. Many times I've asked for prayer for the Bible Correspondence Course ministry in Turkey, which I believe is definitely one of the most effective ministry tools in this great nation. There are less than 5,000 believers, it's estimated, in the nation of Turkey. Remarkably, the Bible Correspondence Course has had more than 250,000 unique visitors to its website during the past year. Advertising, which we can do openly in newspapers and on the internet, allows people in rural areas with no resident witness to connect with Christians and to connect with the course. So I just want to ask for your prayers again for the ministry of the Bible Correspondence Course and for those who follow up, those who begin to study the Bible on a regular basis. I'd like to move now to the other great land of Pakistan, where 3.5 years ago a small OM team settled in one of the cities there. The local church welcomed them and said, "We're very, very glad you're here, working in the city doing outreach. We'll do the praying, you do the outreach." Instead, the team offered to teach a weekly Bible class for 3 months for 18 church members who'd been selected by their leaders as suitable to be involved in outreach to the community. The training included practical ministry on the streets and in the bazaars, as well as prayer walks. Now, many churches in that town hold a monthly prayer for the city day, and selected church members are sent to this training to learn about community outreach. The team's involvement in the local church has built up congregations throughout the city and encouraged leaders to send participants to OM's outreach program campaigns at Christmas and at Easter. This is our passion, not just to do evangelism, but to see God's church motivated and trained to be involved in witness in their community. I'd like to finally talk to you about the Czech Republic, where it's estimated that 70% of the people in that nation don't believe in God. However, 23 Czechs attended an OM Missions weekend held at the team base in late April. Groups from amongst the 23 were preparing to go to Nepal and Moldova with the good news of Jesus, and individuals from the group were also planning to go to the Ukraine and Siberia. Pray for these pioneer missionaries, really, from the Czech church, that they will have a wonderful time involved in mission and be able to bring back this vision for mission to the Czech church. I've said finally, but the Apostle Paul in his epistles often said finally on more than one occasion. So let me finally remind you of the European Football Championships and much outreach which is going on surrounding that great sporting event over the next few weeks. We'd appreciate your prayers for that as well. So on behalf of 6,000 workers in 110 countries, we thank you for your prayers for our ministry. God bless you, our partners in this ministry, for Christ's glory.